Welcome to Chartwell, nestling in the gently rolling hills of the Kent countryside, delightfully known as the Garden of England.
In the garden today, we've planted 6 budding artists, all hoping to cultivate some bloomin' marvellous art. But with just 4 hours to do so, they'll have to dig deep if they want to come up smelling of roses.
You're laying it on with a trowel. I'm nipping it in the bud.
All right, Petal.
Welcome to Landscape Artist of the Year. Over the course of the British summer, we're visiting some of the most spectacular and thrilling scenery our islands have to offer.
It's so good for me, but I hope I don't mess it up because that's going to be kind of embarrassing now.
36 gifted artists selected from a long list of thousands will be challenged to capture these magnificent views and reimagine them as their own landscape masterpieces.
I've been training like Rocky.
From grand, stately gardens, through historic architecture, to striking cityscapes, our artists have just 4 hours to create their works of art.
I made a bit of a mess of the building, so I'm just trying to repair that.
They're competing for the prize of a lifetime, a £10,000 commission to create an artwork for the National Trust, depicting the rugged beauty of Snowdonia to celebrate the anniversary of the Trust's first ever land donation, nearby Dinas Ole.
To be in with a chance of winning, though, they'll need to impress our 3 discerning judges. Award-winning artist Taishan Schierenberg, art historian Kate Bryan, and independent curator Kathleen Soriano.
So tell me about this palette. I mean, I don't understand why it's nearly, 3 or 4 times the size of what you're actually painting.
Also under the watchful gaze of our judges at every heat are our wildcards, just one of whom will make it to the semi-final.
My husband's just got me a coffee, so I'm hoping I'm going to speed up.
So sit back and join us as the search for Landscape Artist of the Year hots up.
You're out here working in the full sun.
Yeah, I've burnt my back.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, is that why you're wearing a cardigan?
Yeah.
It's about 400 degrees out
I
here.
know.
Vying for the painting plaudits today are 4 professional artists. Rachel Wright, Imoniji Imoezi, Max Dennison Pender, and Rosie Palmley.
I've never won anything, ever. I was at work and they said, oh, you've got through. And I was like, oh my God, is this me?
Joining them are 2 amateurs, Zoe Wilkinson and Ben McGregor.
If I wasn't here today, I'd be on a building site right now. So it'll be a unique experience being able to spend the day sort of away from work doing something that I love.
All 6 artists were selected on the strength of artwork they submitted online. Today, the judges are getting a look at the genuine article for the first time. Never was a wall bestowed with such sunlight. Let's start with the furthest.
It suggests somewhere very exotic, and the figures in it, but I can't quite work out anything that's going on. But I get a mood, and it's quite interesting not being able to read a painting, but definitely getting a feeling from it.
Do you have a sense of the collage there?
I think there is collage underneath, and certainly you can see with the number 5, which only adds to my list of questions, actually. It'll be fascinating to see their technique today.
The next painting, the Bluebell Wood.
I think it's just quite expressionistic. I like the fact that you're looking at something in detail in the foreground, and in the background it opens out. You go on a fantastic journey, and I'm really interested by this work.
I've just noticed it looks like what looks like a dead squirrel in the bottom right-hand corner.
It is a dead squirrel.
It is a dead squirrel. I think it's fascinating. I don't know how the paint is put on. It's got this very strange, scraped, organic application, which gives us the mood very clearly. You can see the artist knows what they're doing in that beautiful shadow that is right in the front of the painting. But it's done in such a colour palette that I get a sense of foreboding.
It's very strong, the narrative. There's a little fire in the middle of the day. There's someone sat on what looks like a kind of discarded red desk chair. They're sort of hooded in white. Yeah, they absolutely got us hook, line and sinker with this work. We're in.
Fantastic composition. I think the way that road sort of allows us to fall down it and then has a sort of serpentine taking us up to the top of the canvas. It's very thoughtfully and cleverly put together.
You're immediately transported there. You know, you can hear the car horns, you get a real sense of the place.
We often talk about portraits, you know, we all go, well, that's a good, honest portrait. And I think it's a very good, honest portrait of a tree. It really is sort of gnarly, and the way the paint is put on gives us the feeling of the tree. There's nothing to distract us except treeness, really, and that'll do for me.
Treeness is such a good word. This is a painting of treeness.
Artists often complain about the amount of green that we give them on Landscape Artist of the Year. I don't think we're going to have any trouble with this one.
I like the way that they've used the direction of the brushstrokes to describe the trees. And the lightest tones are really just sort of messy scratches on the surface, and then there are drips. You know, they've used the application of the paint to actually create the form in quite unusual, lively ways.
So overall, varied. What are your expectations?
Good range, a really good range of different styles and approaches, which means it's going to be really exciting today, actually, to see how they deal with what we've given them.
Artists, we hope you have everything you need to create a masterful work of art, because the time has come.
You have 4 hours to complete your landscape, and your time starts now. Wrapping Chartwell House in 20 glorious acres, the gardens here were largely the creation of its most famous resident, Winston Churchill.
Today, our artists are overlooking the very vista that convinced Churchill to purchase the estate in 1922. The front lawn leading down to the lower lake, with the Weald of Kent stretching out beyond.
We have given the artists the most incredible view today. It is filled with opportunity, but it is also filled and fraught with danger. How are they going to deal with the fact that a lot of the view is in the distance? Are they going to sort of zoom themselves into it? How are they going to find definition? Everything's very green. Does that work for them tonally? Are they going to introduce some artistic license? A lot of questions.
I don't think you can really compete with nature, so I like to kind of try and find something different to put on the canvas, something that's just a bit more abstract and strange.
One of only 2 amateurs competing today is builder Ben McGregor, who, when he isn't painting walls, paints in oils, creating surreal, expressionistic works. His submission of woodland carpeted with bluebells took 12 hours and was completed in his living room from photos he'd taken while on a walk close to his Essex home.
Ben, you look like you're on holiday. You got your flip-flops on and a fabulous pair of shades. Now, I see most of your tools, and now your submission makes sense. You don't really use brushes.
Yeah. I use brushes to fill in gaps, but I like to create the flow by spreading the paint kind of first and then building on top of it.
And you spent the first section of today creating the grid on it of sorts.
It's the golden ratio, so I divide the canvas up. Just gives me a framework with where to place things.
How strict do you adhere to that?
It's important to me because I think when you're messing with perspectives and what's there, then the composition has to really be right.
So you take in what's here and you sort of replace it or
Mess
edit
with it, yeah.
No, I can see it. It feels very dense, and I'm thinking here is rather, you know, you've got lots of lawns and
No, I'm
open
trying
space.
I've really closed that space up. It's looking messy, but it will emerge.
I wanted to be a painter when I was 5, and I couldn't. So when I got the chance to leave school, I did, and I became a painter. Yeah, so 22 now, cracking on.
London-based Max Dennison Pender has recently become one of the official artists at Team GB for the Tokyo Olympics, the first time a painter has been commissioned by the team since 1948. His submission, a detailed oil study of a tree on wood panel, was completed in just 3.5 hours. and he's been quick out of the starting blocks today, too.
Max, you've gone in already with a little sketch on this gorgeous wood, actually.
Panel.
Fantastic colour, the panel. Yeah, really nice. And you've just left the tiniest slice of the sky, so you're mainly going to confront this green.
Yeah, I was thinking about the rule of thirds composition stuff. I think I wanted to get all of this in. You know, I think if I was to have 2/3 sky, it would just be a bit. I'd be finished within 45 minutes.
Exactly, and also it's such a fine day. There's not even much going on in the sky, is there? So, talk to me about working in such a small fashion. I mean, your palette is like 10 times bigger than your painting.
Yeah. Well, it's 4 hours, so 4 hours to me is a sketch. I don't want to jeopardise the quality of the image because I want to go big. Just best keep it cool, calm, and collected.
Great. Well, it's very small, but I'm thinking it's going to have a lot of energy. It's going to pack a punch.
Hopefully, yeah.
Just one artist younger than Max is painting today, and she too is relishing the scene in front of her.
It's so good for me, but I hope I don't mess it up because that's going to be kind of embarrassing now. Yeah, the only thing I'm actually worried about is that it's so similar to my submission.
The foliage certainly shouldn't foil 20-year-old philosophy student Zoe Wilkinson. Her painting of a pond at her local nature reserve bears a striking resemblance to today's view. Rendered in her signature green acrylics, the painting formed part of her A-level art coursework.
My goodness, Zoe, we have given you a gift. Someone who likes to paint in green. It couldn't be greener.
No, it's actually perfect for me. So I'm really happy, and I'm just trying to get my greens down so then I can start, like, bring it to life.
And the mixing's an important part of it for you?
Yeah.
Is that to get that particular acid yellow post-apocalyptic tone that you're looking for?
Yeah, so I put that colour, that's the bit there, underneath, so it kind of, you know, makes it really bright.
You've done so much already, it feels like you'll be able to give us another 2 before the end of today.
Oh, no. So now it's really easy because I just, like, get the lights, get the darks and whack them on. But it's actually quite a slow process once I have a good background because I'm sort of picking out the shapes of the leaves. Like, that's what really interests me, like the shapes of the leaves, how the willow, like, flows.
OK.
Lots of different tonal values which take a while to build up.
So, yeah, I mustn't stop you getting all that in today, by the end of today.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Our 6 competitors aren't the only ones braving Chartwell's wall of green. Today's intrepid wildcard artists have taken root in the garden nearby.
I thought I'd do something different. Just got a book of maps from one of those cheap bookshops, and yeah, I'm going to have a go at doing a painting on there.
Seems to be the place for painting trees,
I
isn't
said
it?
to myself before, I really hope it's not all greens. I live in the city, I normally paint buildings.
If any of their landscapes impress the judges, they could land themselves a place in the semi-final.
This is such a lovely atmosphere and it's such a beautiful place. Just let you guys get on and just see what you're up to. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Back in the pods, and with an hour of the challenge already up, the heat is on.
The biggest problem is the sun on the paints. It tends to make them a bit sort of battery.
I've just done the willow tree, and I've got all the values in. I'm happy with the colours so far, so did my bit.
Bit stressed. I've got the base colours on there, but there's still a lot more shapes I have to pick out, and normal tones I've got to get in there, and brush marks. So yeah, I've got a lot to do.
In the Garden of England, our 6 artists are 1 hour into their challenge to portray the verdant vista at Chartwell. And one is having to dig deeper than the others.
When I'm painting, I like to get, you know, and have an emotional connection, because it's not about creating a representational, and I could take a photograph. I don't want to do that. I want more than that. I want an emotional connection. So I'll be looking, you know, very hard to see things that connect with me.
For art tutor Rosie Palmley, painting is a deeply personal pursuit. Working in pastels, paint and collage, she creates intimate and abstract works inspired by her family history. such as her submission of her late father sitting alone in his garden.
So, Rosie, you've made a start with pastels there, across huge spread of paper. What will you use on your actual canvas?
I'm going to start with some acrylic paint, and then I might stick a little bit down of a little bit of dressmaking pattern that I use.
Now, tell me about these dressmaking patterns.
Well, it started because my mother's a dressmaker, and I grew up with her at home, surrounded by scissors and material, and it was sort of autobiographical that there'd be something in the painting, you know, a little hidden motif.
So you'll use a shape from within those?
Yes, that's my collage.
So it's a little secret between yourself and your mother, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a sort of homage to my mother, yeah, definitely.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
So, Ty, it's a cloudless, warm, beautiful summer's day. Is that helpful to them?
No, it's a nightmare, I can imagine. There is a blue sky which takes up most of the view where nothing is happening. There's no clouds to be working with. But interesting, the sun is casting rather dark, gloomy shadows. There's something in there. There's a narrative quality that they could mine.
The grounds are open to the public and it's starting to fill up with people. That's a dangerous thing for you, isn't it?
Yeah, my phobias are
starting to twitch.
Yes, the kids running joyfully across the lawn. I mean, I suppose I want the figures to have some meaning rather than decoration, because then it does look like a tourist painting on a sunny day.
Right.
I mean, am I sounding mad? I mean...
No, I mean, no madder than normal.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, I should have used the word demanding. That's a bit... Yeah, I'm being very demanding.
Thanks.
I come with my colors, and yeah, I'm just going to follow the painting, because I let the painting speak to me and let follow the way it goes. That is how I paint.
Former artist-in-residence at the National Gallery of Art in Lagos, Nigerian Imoniji Imoezi moved to the UK 9 years ago with his wife and daughters. His submission, a vibrant depiction of a busy road in his hometown of Ochi, was created with his signature piece of kit.
I can see you're an aficionado of the palette knife, and I know from your submission that means that you get this sort of impasto, so paint on top of paint.
Yeah, lucky, because I want my painting to feed that texture, the boldness on it. I use those textures to, like, keep you going. And, you know, like in music, you have rhythm, you break them, you put another one just to make the work move, not just to be a particular static.
Well, it's very static here.
Yeah.
Does it sort of worry you that today we have something that's so still?
No, not really. I like nature. I paint nature a lot as well.
So you're used to painting outside?
Yeah, I used to when I was in Nigeria.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I've not.
Well, it must feel a bit like Nigeria today with this weather.
Yeah, it is.
So you're at home?
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
I am fairly new to watercolour, and I find it, sometimes I am battling with it in comparison to oil. Oil I find easier, but with watercolour, if I'm successful, it should have more sort of mystery to it.
Rachel Wright's submission, an ominous scene in pencil and watercolour, was captured in her parents' Surrey garden. In search of the atmosphere of that work, today she's ignored the bucolic view directly in front of her, choosing instead a composition focused on the terrace wall.
Is narrative important to you in your work, and is it reliant on a figure in landscape?
I hope that I'm going to be able to achieve a mood without a figure, although I do actually have a couple of figures in here. They happen to be in a photograph I took of the composition I was looking for.
Okay.
And they were in quite strange stances as well.
So we're getting a Rachel
So
kind of narrative. I'm like,
I was
that's
thinking
great.
that they could be included.
Now, watercolours are quite a fast medium, but I got a feeling with your painting that actually you use it in a sort of very counterintuitive way, and it's actually quite slow. I mean, are you a slow worker?
Very. That's
Okay.
one of my main worries. So I have, when I've been practicing, I have tried to change my approach a bit, just to sort of capture the same feel, but with a different technique.
Yes. Well, look, I'm intrigued, and I'm glad I've met somebody who uses watercolour in a completely different way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that looks.
I hope it'll be successful in my own eyes.
As well as our 6 artists toiling under the sun today, in another corner of Chartwell's grounds, the Wildcards are competing for the chance of just one place in the semi-final.
I feel like if I blink an awful lot, I will somehow be able to compose all of the scene together, all these tiny little vignettes.
Yes, so I'm doing thumbnails, 140 thumbnails.
Why?
It's almost like a journey through the landscape, and I'm moving around.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get a view of the lakes and the ponds.
So they don't actually join up with each other?
No.
It's not like one bit of the
No,
landscape
it's not.
leads into another.
No,
it's all
no.
random.
Yeah.
As ever, our Wildcards are taking every advantage of today's location.
There's kind of split. We've got the lake ones, and then quite a lot, like
Yeah.
the narrative of the
Well,
door
I
and
was
the
going to
wall.
ask you, if you were here, what would you paint? Because I'm now realising that some of the really interesting paintings are that little wall, because that's where you can sort of suspend reality and get a bit of narrative and a bit of grittiness.
But the thing about the garden wall, it always ends up looking like a book cover to The Secret Garden. You know what I mean? It's got that feel about it.
Back in the pods on Chartwell's front lawn, and with almost 2 hours of the 4-hour challenge now up, it's not just the view that has our artists feeling green.
I'm probably most worried about the time, that my end piece is representative of what I want to portray as an artist.
I'm using the stippling effect to bring light through the trees, but all the marks are blurring into one, and I have to try really hard not to overwork it.
I'm trying to hold on to the water, so I have to remember which bit's which, because when it's abstract, you know, sometimes I go, oh no, I've put it in the wrong place. It's a difficult balancing act. It could be disastrous.
Our 6 competitors are halfway through their challenge to depict the gardens at Chartwell in Kent. And with just 2 hours left to complete their paintings, the day's dazzling weather continues to test.
The light is so strong over there, it's silhouetting the painting, and so it's quite hard to see what colours you're putting down. So you can see it, but it's just not the same as normal lighting when you bring it back inside.
I'm just trying to get a lot of colour down, and so then I can work in more detail over the top. Yeah, it is the kind of nightmare stage because everything looks like a bit of a mess.
In Banijay, you're finding lots of different greens in there, and is that part of the joy of finding colour in the landscape?
Yeah. Because if you look at the green, you can see different shades.
Yeah.
So I like to interpret them the way they are.
Do you do that a lot? So there's a mixing of, you get a colour that's quite close, and then you mix it with another colour over the top?
Yeah.
So you get that sort of visual mixing?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great. I can, you know, it's definitely there. So I'll let you get on with it. It's looking good.
Hi, Ben.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going okay, I think. I'm just sort of slapping paint on at the moment.
How do you get yourself ready for a day like this? Do you have a sort of a routine?
Gosh. I do like, there's this thing called Wim Hof.
Right.
Which is like this this Dutch guy that does these breathing exercises, and then you have to have a cold shower.
What?
Yeah.
So you have to do breathing exercise before the cold. Is that to get ready for the cold shower?
The cold shower comes after the breathing exercises.
Okay, because in a cold shower there's lots of.
Exactly. So
I've now got this image of you at home, and your poor partner sitting there can hear you heavy breathing upstairs. screaming in the cold shower, then kicking the living room door open and going, "I'm painting, get out."
It's an insight into her world, yeah.
Breathing down the artist's necks all morning have been our 3 judges. So what do they make of progress so far?
The wall this morning was full of imagination and narrative. Is that translating to what the artists are doing today?
I think they're all trying to bring a little bit of who they are to the pictures today and staying quite true to their styles.
Rachel's working with watercolour. She's quite new to it, she says. Is she handling it well?
She's handling it well, but I'm a little bit disappointed that we haven't got more of that sort of grubby macabre, and it feels a bit sort of sweet and pretty at the moment.
What I think would be great is if she just is able to take a bit of a step back this afternoon and just introduce some sort of impending doom. Just a little bit. Just
What's wrong with us? I don't know.
I know, you're sitting here on the most beautiful, glorious summer day and you want impending doom.
Yeah, yeah.
Ben is obsessed, it seems, with the golden ratio.
It's funny that he should be underpinning his rather organic, claustrophobic way of painting with that. But we say sometimes that painters go through an ugly phase. At the moment, his painting is looking ugly, man.
Oh, I totally disagree.
Oh, right.
Me too.
I think that Ben's picture at the moment is just gorgeous.
Yep.
And I think he's been really clever in the way he's composed it. So you sort of know where you are, but it doesn't feel quite right, which I guess gives it that little bit of tension.
Banijay is wielding a palette knife. Is he wielding it to good effect?
Yeah, I think what's fantastic is Banijay is able to give us breathing space. One of the issues sometimes when you have a painting using a palette knife is that you kind of get all this paint sitting on top of each other. But for me, it's a very convincing, light-filled landscape. It's not at all claustrophobic.
Max, given his name, is painting a very small landscape.
And given his palette.
Given the size of that palette, I mean, the palette is Max, the canvas is Mini.
I'm nervous because Max is, at this stage of the day, already going in with this really, really tiny brush, and it's early to be doing that. It could just look overworked and a bit tight.
It's wonderful. I mean, it really does. As we sit here, it captures the day perfectly. But, you know, we're quite demanding. We do want something more or something slightly different.
Yeah, I mean, if capturing the day perfectly is not good enough for you, then it is. It's there have got an uphill struggle.
Today's artists aren't the first to have been inspired by the vistas across the Kent countryside from Chartwell. They were also mused to none other than Winston Churchill himself. Much of his time here was spent with family, talking politics and writing. In the aftermath of the Dardanelles disaster, a huge military defeat off the Turkish coast during the First World War for which he was largely blamed, Churchill discovered a pastime in which he came to find solace.
He'd gone to Hoe Farm and was staying there with his sister-in-law. And Winston saw her painting and thought, gosh, that might be something that might be able to capture my attention. And Churchill referenced this time as the muse of painting having come to his rescue. It wasn't just a hobby, it was something that he needed to cope with the pressures and strain of public life.
Churchill painted prolifically for almost the next 50 years, creating the vast majority of over 500 works after he purchased the house in 1922.
Given that Churchill bought Chartwell because of the views and the landscape, it's unsurprising that he captured it on canvas many times. And there's a few particular spots that we see coming up time and time again in his art.
Chartwell's Goldfish Pool is one such place, a secluded corner of the grounds that he returned to time and time again to paint and reflect.
It's really interesting to look at how his technique was changing over time. There's one done in the 1930s that is said to be amongst the most accomplished of all his paintings. It's an absolutely beautiful example, and you can really see the detail and the reflection in the water. But compare that to the one undertaken in the 1960s, we see a far more abstract style being used.
This latter depiction of the Goldfish Pool from 1962 takes on added significance as the final piece Churchill completed before his death 3 years later. It's fitting that his last painting would focus on his favourite place in the garden of his beloved Kent home.
Following on in the brushstrokes of Churchill, our Wildcard artists are nearing the end of their challenge. with the judges selecting only one to be in with a chance of a place in the semi-final.
This place is so consistently beautiful all the way around. How did you come to choose this particular spot?
It was actually this tree. Just the textures.
The tree is the star of the day.
Am I seeing a bit of gold in there?
Yeah, there's some gold dust in there. You can't see it flat on, but if you come from the side, it just catches your eye. It's a bit of sparkle.
You don't strike me as somebody who wants to be all glittery and sparkly.
Do a little bit of glitter.
So which of our wildcards have sparkled today?
What a fabulous day had by all. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's just reveling in it. It truly is a festival.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's just glorious. And we had a lot of actually really good artists in the Wildcard today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the variety of views and that, you know, the weather was playing ball and they
Yeah.
could choose anything they wanted. What's interesting about this woman here painting the green, when you can work with the different greens and give us a sense of light, that is pretty good.
So who has triumphed in today's battle with the green of Chartwell?
Hello. Well, we just loved your light. It's well done. It's been a phenomenal day. You found a way to bring life to each tree, and it's just the sparkling light is really well caught. So congratulations. Well done.
Bit wobbly, actually, a bit gobsmacked as well. But yeah, really happy. I'm going to celebrate by sitting down at home, and hopefully people will just bring me a drink and the family can look after me.
Louise Gillard from London will enter a pool of wildcard winners from all the heats, one of whom will be selected for a place in the semi-final.
Overlooking Chartwell's glorious green vista, our 6 artists are into their final hour.
I still have quite a lot of detail to do in the foreground, which I'm just starting now. I'm still certainly worried that I'm not going to finish something in time.
I wouldn't normally choose to paint such an open landscape like this, but it still looks like me, I hope.
I'm trying to put a little few people in there to spice up the image, because right now it's sort of just green, green and green. I think I've just got to be careful again not to put too much paint on there and keep it clean and keep it fresh.
A lot could go wrong now if I panic and just put loads of lines in there. It's going to go wrong, so yeah, I just need to concentrate and I think it'll be fine. Well, I hope it'll be fine.
In the gardens at Chartwell in Kent, our 6 artists are into the final few minutes of their landscape challenge, but there's still time to dig themselves into a hole.
Feeling quite stressed because I managed to overwork it. So now I'm just trying to save it, but I think I've lost it, so... But yeah, I'm just feeling stressed.
Yeah, no, it's a bit overcomplicated at the moment. There's too much in there, so I'm just trying to empty out the picture, really. Is it finished? I don't know.
I'm putting the finishing touches now, so I'll put the figures under the tree. A couple, a husband and wife, so having their nice time, a quiet time together.
Artists, you have 5 minutes left. 5 minutes.
I'm pretty much done, so I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I'm going to leave it in the laps of the judges.
A bit unfinished, unfortunately. I would have liked to get more done than I have.
Artists, your time is up.
Please put down your brushes and step away from your artwork.
How was it?
I really ran out of time, so not that pleased, but yours looks great.
Thank you.
Only one artist can make it through to the semi-final, so to help with their decision, the judges start by narrowing the selection down to a short list of 3.
It's been a glorious day, hasn't it? It's really
Glorious.
beautiful here, and I think the beauty, in a funny way, was a bit overwhelming for a few of them.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a big view. It was extremely green. Probably the hottest day we've ever had. I think that all that combined was certainly challenging. Well, Rachel's is so different to her submission, isn't it? But I think the great decision that she made was to give us this slice downwards to focus on a lot of architecture.
And she has given us that same grubbiness and that sense of weirdness, not least of all with those rather abstracted buildings in the background. But I'm really glad she dirtied it up. It was looking far too pretty early today.
I think Max is great. He gave us something which was small, it was focused, fantastic sense of light. Have I seen painting like this before? Yes. Is it a good example? Yes.
He knows what he's doing. And yes, I am allergic to figures, but funny enough, the 2 figures sitting under the tree kind of give the whole thing a narrative, whereas the 2 figures walking across the landscape, that is then too much for me.
I mean, Zoe stayed really true to herself. You know, we've got the same acid green, that post-nuclear view, but I'm glad we've got a little glimmer of sky here. Somehow sort of weights the whole thing.
Zoe's great because she's young and she's worked out this is what she's interested in and she's really going for it. I think there's Chartwell very much through Zoe's eyes, but definitely Chartwell.
Ben's marks are unmistakable. The way he creates these rather organic shapes. He's obviously edited the landscape in front of him to very much to suit his own needs.
I really admire that inventiveness, kind of a bit Willy Wonka. Or, you know, I feel like the whole thing's quite edible. So much good potential there.
I love the fact that Imaniji's given us colour, and I feel the heat. It's so verdant, and I can almost hear the crickets or the grasshoppers going as well. It's hot.
I think Imaniji's a very good colourist, and it's an interesting and exciting lesson in painting, really.
I think Rosie's work, there's such personal stories to her. Even today, she's turned it into a personal story. I'm not sure that I feel it's Chartwell, but it does entrance me. It's going to be quite difficult to wrestle them apart or get them down to 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
So which of today's artists will make it onto the judges' shortlist?
I find that one, I think, probably the most interesting in the sense of there's potential, there's consideration from the artist, they're very thoughtful.
Which one?
That one there.
For me, I'm really happy with these 3, actually, as they are.
Artists, thank you for being with us here today. It's been wonderful to spend the day watching your creativity at work.
But as you know, only 3 artists can be shortlisted for consideration as the day's winner, and the judges have made their selection. The first artist on the shortlist is Max Denison Pender.
Thank you.
The second artist on the shortlist is Ben McGregor.
The third artist is Rachel Wright.
Our commiseration to the rest of you, and don't think it means that we don't admire your work. We do. Thank you.
I kind of felt towards the end that I'd kind of overworked it a bit, so I sort of had an idea that it hadn't gone too well. So, but yeah, I had a really good day, so that's what I wanted to do, and I did that.
With the shortlist decided, the judges now have the unenviable task of selecting today's winner. To give them a helping hand, they also take the selected artists' submitted works into account.
Well, judges, it's been a scorcher of a day. Were you looking for something that celebrated this bucolic event in the paintings?
Well, we're looking for an artist who, you know, brought their personality to bear on the landscape and found something that balanced both what we saw on the submission wall this morning and the landscape given to them.
And actually, now that we see their submissions alongside their work from today, it's really helping me understand the work a little bit better.
Rachel's submission had a sense of narrative and a little bit of mystery about it. We got a bit of that in her painting today, didn't we?
I think it was quite a tall order today for Rachel to try and deliver something that was like the submission. But actually, I think she managed to pull it off. She found a little slice of Chartwell that was hers and hers alone. She used artistic license, you know, the little figures in the background, a little bit of mystery.
Rachel is calm, thoughtful, methodical, and you feel that in the way she uses the medium, I think. Even in the way she deals with the tones, they're pushed right the way down. You know, it's really quiet.
Well, there's nothing quiet about Ben's way of painting. I mean, he explodes onto his canvases, doesn't he?
I like the strange quality of Ben's work, and I like the fact that he let it go almost into another dimension today, showing us two views at once, compressed with this really weird sort of vortex of abstract painting in the foreground. It's interesting, it's really artful, and it's just absolutely Ben.
In his submission, I am totally converted, and I believe in his vision of this mysterious wood, and the whole thing sits together very well. In today's submission, I'm taken on a journey where I have this weird smeared sea cucumber with pink dots on it in the bottom, and some very odd trees, and I think those passages work very nicely. He's unique. I mean, as such, I suppose, you know, we want to see something new. This is definitely new.
Max, towards the end of the 4 hours, declared that he was going to add some figures into his landscape, and I thought, uh-oh, they are not going to like that, but you clearly did.
Well, I like the figures. I think it's a really beautiful painting. I think that he handles light and colour so well. He's very methodical. I feel like Max could see this painting this morning, and he just, you know, fought his way to it.
Well, they're two sets of people, and I can live just about with one set of people. The other two people, I want to go up. I know the paint's wet. Go on, Joan, smudge them off.
No, I rather like them because I believe in them. And there have been people picnicking across this great land.
So will Rachel's eerie mystery win the day? Will it be Ben's sea cucumber? Or will Max's overpopulated oil painting triumph?
Rachel, Ben, Max, let me tell you, it's never easy to choose when it comes to one of three. And the same is true today as always. The judges have found it really tough, no exception.
But they have made their decision, and the artist they have selected is Ben McGregor.
I'm feeling absolutely over the moon, like really, really buzzing. It's such a personal thing that you're putting out there, and to get the sort of the recognition on that level is it just feels wonderful.
Well done. We had a massive view. We had a historic location. We were looking for a bit of storytelling. We didn't want it to be too literal. Ben's the kind of artist that when you've seen one painting, you're like, oh, OK, what's going on here? Then you see a second painting and you'll think, right, great, I'm convinced, I'm sold. Can't quite picture the third painting, but I know it will be quirky, it'll be interesting, and that's what I'm looking forward to in the semi-final.